Welcome everybody. Nice to see everybody here. My name's Gerry Andrews. I'm a body mind coach and a massage therapist. And I'm delighted here to have Bruce Fertman here today, who is going to be introducing himself and introducing his work and all the range of amazing stuff that he's been doing, which I'm really looking forward to seeing him in November when we've got the two workshops that Bruce is going to be leading for us here in Leeds. So, yeah, just want to say welcome to you, Bruce. It's an honor and a real privilege to get the chance to catch up with you after a long time of sort of following you in different ways. So I just wanted to, yeah, just introduce yourself and see where we go with this.
Yeah, it's an honor to work with you, and we've had a fruitful interchange for a couple months,
Ah,
and I like what we're making together. It's great.
cool. So yeah, I don't know if you just want to really start by just saying a little bit about yourself, because I've read a number of your books and really sort of got a connection with, I suppose, the whole range of stuff that you've been about. But maybe if you just tell people a little bit about your background and how you've
Sure,
got to where you are today.
sure. Well, I've been in love with human movement since I was a child. I started teaching little kids how to swim and how to dive and how to do gymnastics,
Mm,
and that just led me to an entire lifetime of disciplined study in an array of movement oriented disciplines.
mhm,
So, from gymnastics, I began to study modern dance in the early 70s in America. And from at the same time, really, I started studying Tai Chi and Aikido and contact improvisation. And so modern dancers in the 70s were really interested in the whole spectrum of human movement, not just in
Right,
dance performance.
right.
So that led me to the Alexander technique and to Mabel Todd's work, which later was called idiokinesis, and which means imagined movement.
Mhm.
And then that took me into Japanese tea ceremony,
Okay.
which had a great deal to teach about fine motor movement.
Mm.
I found that just a wonderful study. And that took me into tango, a certain period of tango, and finally into studying Kyudo, which is Zen archery.
Uh-huh.
So it's just a lifetime of movement. Alexander Technique has had a special place in my career because um, I had a teacher who used her hands to bring people into balance in the most magical, extraordinary, transformative way. And I vowed at a certain time in my life, in my mid 20s, that I wouldn't stop until I had hands like that. So that became a joyful obsession.
That was
And
Marjorie, was it?
Marjorie Barstow,
Mm.
so who was the first person that Alexander certified to teach his work.
Right, right, right.
She
So
was,
you learned really, really
yeah,
correct.
yeah,
Yeah.
and she was born in 1899.
1899. Wow.
Yeah, so I was 25 when I met her. She was 75. Now I'm 75. So it's
We never
my
know. I've met
turn.
some 25-year-old somewhere.
Yeah. So it's my turn to,
Sure.
share the work the way she did it. And she was really in her prime at 75,
Amazing.
really coming into her work. And I feel similarly. So
Mm.
so that's maybe that gives you something about my background.
Indeed, indeed. And I suppose, what would you call yourself these days? I mean, obviously, being an Alexander teacher is one amongst many things, I guess. But
Yeah, that's a really good question. I don't know who I try not to define myself. Uh, because I don't want to put myself and my work into a box.
Right.
But when I'm working with Alexander students or introducing the Alexander technique or working with Alexander teachers, or I can put on my Alexander technique hat and I can be an Alexander teacher.
Mm. Mm.
These days, I I have to make up a word that describes what I do. I call myself a physiologian sometimes,
Okay. A
which
physiologian. Okay.
yeah, which means that I'm very interested in the relationship between physical life and spiritual life,
Right.
between the senses uh, and the soul, so to speak.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
And uh, sometimes I call myself a somosopher, which is a person that possesses a certain amount of body wisdom, is
Indeed.
what that means. Uh,
Funny you should say that because we've been doing what we've called a body wisdom series. A friend of mine and a colleague, Angela Green, who you'll meet when you come over. And absolutely this, I think, yeah, there is such deeper wisdom in the body, which connects so much with the mind, but also with the spirit as well. And we're all of that, aren't we?
yeah, yes. That's a good, that's a good point. Is that I began with this love of movement, but life is movement,
Mm,
and so it became a much bigger study because we move through our everyday life.
mm, mm,
How we move through our everyday life affects our tempo, affects our level of resonance with ourselves and with other people and with the world around us.
mm.
Um, and it affects consciousness.
Sure, sure.
And then you realize that in order to move well, you need a good bit of sensory education. Like
Mm,
the aesthetic sense needs to be educated, proprioception needs to be educated.
mm,
Uh, and then we need to move well in the world. And we experience the world around us through seeing and through hearing. And so all the senses
mm,
become integral to moving well. So sensory
mm.
education is a huge part
Yeah,
of what I teach. Yeah.
yeah. It's interesting in your book, the sort of teaching by hand, learning by heart, which I'd recommend really for anybody who's a therapist. Um, you talk about a little bit about post proprioception as a
Mhm.
concept, which I thought was quite interesting.
Yeah, it's my own I have to make up things that describe what I teach. My own language. I find language very important
Ah,
in
interesting.
in teaching people because it's the way we think and communicate. Um, there's pre-proprioception, there's proprioception, there's post-proprioception, there's extended proprioception. So pre-proprioception is when we're first come out into the world and we don't really know where our body begins and where the world begins. It's just all one
Mm,
swirl, so to speak. And then we have to make sense of it.
mm,
What's my body? Where does my body begin? Where does my body end? You
yes.
know,
Our
and
edges,
so
really,
on.
isn't it? Yes.
Yeah, and we figure it out. We figure it out. This is me, this is not me,
Mhm.
so on. At some point, we have to learn to connect so finely to objects that we learn to extend our proprioception, our nervous system into objects, like when we learn to ride a bicycle
Yeah,
is a perfect example, or when we learn to hold a
yeah.
write with a pen. So that's a beautiful study. And then sometimes as we get older, we feel a little bit overly contained. We in ourselves. We want to blend with the world. We want to merge more with the world. And so our sense of where our body ends and where the world begins, we want to kind of soften
Mm,
that a bit, like letting ourselves bleed into the world like ink bleeds into paper
mm,
and develop uh, a more receptive relationship with the world so we can
mm,
take it in more, so we're more porous.
mm.
uh,
Interesting.
and this is a feeling of proprioception, of post-proprioception,
Right.
where we start to feel really connected with.
And
It's
would
a
you
kind
say that was
of
also,
intimacy.
sorry.
It's a kind of intimacy or communion with something would be
I
a
was
word.
just going to ask you about that.
Yeah.
Whether you were feeling maybe that intimacy, that communion leads into a greater sense of community. So some of the work that I've been doing in the past has been around community development and that type of work. And you do see a real desire, I think, and real need to
Mm,
connect outside of ourselves and, with other people, but with also what's going on around us. And
yes.
sadly now at the moment, there's a lot of disconnection as well, which is
Mm. I
disturbing.
think it's a terrific point because we not only need to live in community with other people, that's our social body. So
Mm-hmm.
our body is
Mm-hmm.
bigger than this little one. So
Mm-hmm.
we have a social body, and also we have the more than human community, the more than human world. So communing with the trees and with other animals,
Mm-hmm.
the earth itself,
Mm-hmm.
and this all of this when this kind of post-proprioception, when this communion intimacy happens, we begin to not feel alone,
That's right.
and
Yes.
and that frees our body. That
Interesting.
actually makes us move better and breathe better and function better.
Wow.
So yeah, I think this is very,
That's that's a really interesting point, isn't it? When we don't feel alone, then we
yeah.
can become more than ourselves, as it were. I think sometimes when
Yeah,
we're alone, we go inwards, don't we? And we see sadly
yeah.
the people who are only stuck in themselves.
And actually, we we post Freudian world makes us feel that we can solve all our problems psychically. That we can figure it all out from the inside.
Yeah, yeah.
But my friend David Abram, who wrote this The Spell of the Sensuous, he says, and I love this line, he says, the real inner world is the world we're in.
Right.
So, the people that we're with, the earth, uh,
Mm,
this is our inner world. This is the world we're in. And
mm,
and so
mm.
everything, it's all part of us.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
And sadly, I think sometimes we can, yeah, sadly live in our own prisons as well, isn't it? As you
Yeah,
said.
yeah. So that gets back to post-proprioception. It's like taking the parenthesis, it's like we live in parentheses like
Yeah,
this.
yeah,
And when you learn how to remove them, the world actually gets friendlier.
indeed.
And and you feel like talking to people and you feel like saying hello to people
Yeah,
and you start to see the world more. You're just not so
yeah,
you the blinders come off. And
indeed.
this kind of spreading out into the world, which is very comfortable.
And
Yeah.
as you say, the world becomes a friendlier place, isn't it? It's not as scary,
Yeah.
it's not as frightening, and therefore our own nervous systems can respond in a much more whole
Yeah.
way again.
Yes. They calm down a bit.
Yeah,
I say we have very nervous systems.
indeed.
Yeah. We have truly nervous systems.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Oh. Blimey, so yes, we've covered quite a lot of interesting stuff there in just a few
Yeah.
minutes, funnily enough. But it really brings us, I think, into, I suppose, your UK tour that you're doing. And thank you again for agreeing to add in Leeds as a bit in
Sure.
between London and Manchester.
Yeah,
So-
I'm teaching in Bournemouth. I'm
Mhm.
teaching in London, in Manchester, and happily in Leeds.
Mm.
We're getting close to having 100 people registered
Oh
in my
wow.
workshops altogether.
Wow, fantastic.
Yeah, I first started teaching in London because of many Alexander teachers who were getting interested in my work.
Uh-huh.
And I taught a couple postgraduate programs for, very already very well-trained Alexander teachers who just wanted to uh, have the benefit of my experience. I'm a good bit older than most Alexander teachers, so yeah. So
Mm.
I developed this relationship with England and have some very good friends here, in
Mm.
England now.
Mm. Mm.
So it's
Okay.
just a chance to travel and meet some more people and share
Mm.
my work. And so I'm looking forward to it.
Cool. I was just going to say, I mean, I know we've talked a little bit about creating maybe the 2 days in Leeds as being slightly different. So,
Yes.
no, you obviously the days you're doing in London and Bournemouth and Manchester are. Would you say those were more specifically around the Alexander technique? Are you sort of coming to sort of teach that, or how would you
Mm.
describe those days?
Yeah, if you go to brucefertman.org,
Uh-huh.
you'll see that I don't so much teach the Alexander technique. I teach what the Alexander technique is about,
Understand.
you know, where it takes you. That's what I'm interested in. And so
Feel of
if
it, really, isn't it? Yeah.
what?
The feel of it, I guess.
Yeah, and how useful it is and applicable
Uh-huh.
to living one's life. So I don't tend to call my workshops the Alexander technique. I have a theme, like caring for people who take care of people,
Yeah.
or attunement, right? Or calming down, waking up, right? I have themes and I use everything I've learned from all my teachers, and
Right.
I have many,
Right.
um, and good ones,
Yeah.
really wonderful teachers. And I use everything I've learned, not just the Alexander technique,
Uh-huh.
to impart, to offer something inside of these different themes. So all my classes are really for everybody.
Mm, mm.
Everyone
And that's
can.
really interesting because I think one of the things we were talking about that we wanted for the lead sessions, I guess, was I was quite interested in how we might be able to bring other practitioners and other people who aren't necessarily Alexander people, as it were, but who could really benefit, I think, from the insights of your whole experience, really. And that feels so rich as you've just
Yes.
been talking. So I think the what would you say for the first day that we've been planning? Because that was more around, I suppose, how we might care for the carers almost, isn't it?
Hmm. Yeah, I teach. One of my themes I love is I say, leaving myself in your hands,
Hmm.
touching being through the body. So there's a lot of us who use our hands to help directly, who
Yeah,
use our hands directly to help people, right? You do,
yeah,
massage therapists, all the somatic educators,
yeah,
yoga teachers, Tai Chi teachers,
yeah.
nurses, hospice workers,
Mm.
physical therapists, speech therapists, occupational therapists. There's a lot of us that directly use our hands to help people.
Mm.
So I love work getting people to have better hands, you
Right,
know, hands that are more nurturing and that are more educative,
right,
both therapeutic and educational.
right.
So the being tactually literate. That's what I call it. So,
Mm,
so being able to read people clearly, what's going
mm,
on, what they need, how they need to shift in their bodies.
mm.
So that's one thing that we're thinking about doing,
Yeah,
I think.
yeah.
Yeah.
One thing is already mentioned a little bit earlier on was language and how
Mm.
we use language, I suppose, as part of this work too. And would you see bringing some of those elements into the
Oh
first
yeah.
day?
Oh, when I teach people, I work, obviously I speak to them sometimes.
Mm,
I often communicate ideas through story.
mm,
Um, Language is very important. Like, for instance, if you're saying bend your knees, well, knees don't bend. Like you could bend something like this, but knees don't do that. Knees glide and slide.
yeah.
So you need appropriate language so people understand what's really going on.
Yeah, 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 absolutely. Actually, there's
Yeah,
a really fascinating post very recent, yesterday, that your friend Mio Morales put up. I don't know if you saw that, which was all about language in this
yeah,
book.
yeah. So
Amazing.
language is key. Observation is really important. People knowing how to observe me knowing how to observe you. I call it beholding a person.
Okay.
So that's a whole skill. Uh,
Mm,
Teaching movement,
mm,
a whole skill.
mm,
And these are all ways of communicating.
mm,
Right?
mm,
There's nonverbal communication and then tactual communication, speaking through your touch. So, so language is just one of the really important ways that we communicate with each other.
mm,
So
mm.
it needs to be done well.
Yes.
And
So,
it's not just the language, it's also the voice.
right. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. So the first day, I guess, is going to be capturing a lot of that type of work and understanding, I suppose, and helping people, I guess, build their own abilities and skills around that.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. The second day, which also really is quite interesting, and I think this is something which you were saying is something new that you're wanting to introduce now, and we mentioned it a little bit before about the teachers and the mentors that you've worked with and how they've aged into older age.
Yes.
And you're wanting to combine that understanding and that experience and
hmm
into how I think building it into your walking
Yeah.
well work as well.
Yeah. I call it lessons in longevity because
Uh-huh.
I've had 10 mentors that have lived and taught into their 90s and hundreds, you
Wow.
know, that live so long and so well. And I think it has something to do with their training, so, how they live their lives, but very much to real training.
Mm,
Certain things they just knew about their body and about breathing uh, and other things as well.
mm,
So I've tried to really think deeply about what is it about these? What was it and is it? Some of them are still alive uh, about them.
mm,
So I like to share that. And now being 75 is interesting because I feel rather young because my teachers were not anywhere near finished when they were 75. Some of them were coming into their prime. And a
mm.
lot of my friends that are my age are sort of falling apart left and right.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I want to offer something for my generation, for people who are getting older,
Mm,
get them to think about some things they may not be thinking about that might help them. And,
mm.
and one of the things that helps with aging is walking.
Right.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
we if we walk poorly, then we get good at walking poorly. walking poorly is better than not walking at all.
True.
But walking well is way better than walking poorly. And then if you know how to walk well, then you're practicing walking well and you get better and better at it. You have to understand the mechanics and the principles of walking well, and they're not difficult to learn.
Mm,
So
mm.
walking is just one of these activities, quintessential activities that help people age well.
And you talk, I think, in your other book as well about walking from the ground up. That's an interesting.
Well, yes,
Mm. Mm.
this is this tell people we never walk alone. So this is this post proprioception.
Yeah.
We can take one step without the ground. It's not we don't act, we interact. We never can do an action by ourselves. We never act by ourselves. We think we do, but we don't. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
you can't take a step without the ground. You can't speak without the air from the world.
Mm.
We can't do anything by ourselves.
Yeah.
We're always interacting. So becoming aware that every action we do is actually an interaction. We're
Mm.
washing the dishes. Well, you can't do it without water. You can't do it without the dishes.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and we can't do anything without moving either. So
Absolutely.
so um,
Absolutely, that. It really is that whole mindful movement, isn't it? And, it takes you into all sorts of other aspects too, but just simply being able to move, whether it's your hands or
yeah,
however it might be,
yeah,
even simple movements, even
yes.
for those who may not be able to walk, but can still maybe connect in some other way.
Yes. I mean, if you're in a wheelchair, you have to learn to do that well.
Hmm.
You
Hmm.
know,
Yeah.
or,
Yeah.
or you're in a walker, and then you have to learn how to use the walker
Yeah.
well.
And being conscious, isn't it, of even just standing
Yes. But
is,
it's not just, it's not just mental conscious.
no.
Consciousness is not exclusive. Nothing is exclusively mental. So it's really a cognitive sensory consciousness and kind of kinesthetic consciousness. We need to be not just mindful, we need to be bodyful, bodyfulness.
Yeah.
So mindfulness is part of it, but bodyfulness is
Yeah.
equally important.
Absolutely. Body and mind, indeed.
Yes, that's
Well,
it.
great. I think that's a fantastic place to
Okay.
to end for now. But thank you
Yes.
so much for
Oh yeah.
you spending the time, and it's been great, really, just getting a better feel, hopefully, for what we're going to be able to bring to life.
Yeah,
In
I'm really looking forward to it.
development.
I'm looking forward to meeting you in person.
Me too. Most definitely.
Yeah.
Great. So yeah, that's Monday the 24th. You're coming up to Leeds,
Yes.
and Tuesday the 25th. So we're doing the workshop 1 and 2 on those 2 days, uh,
Yes.
which would be great to see. And who knows, maybe something more in the future too.
Good. I look forward to it.
Great. Thanks, Bruce. Thank you for spending the time.
Yep.
Cheers.
Cheers.